Well, good morning. Good to see everyone. I am Reverend Karen LeBlanc. I minister to this congregation as we minister to each other. Happy Pride! Yes. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, that science is real, that the democratic process is a sacred thing, and that we are all part of an interconnected web, and the light and energy that we put out makes a difference in this world. We are people of purpose, and if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope you'll consider becoming part of this way cool family of seekers and keepers of this very long dream that is our church. Greetings to our online viewers today. We do have a terrific YouTube channel if you check it out. We have 2 more services for this year. Our last service will be our Juneteenth service on the 18th. But to tide you over through the summer, you can always go to YouTube on Sunday morning if you really want to watch. I'm sure some of you might have missed 1 or 2 Sundays this year, so you can go refresh. Sign the blue card if you are new. Join us for coffee hour after the service. We are live streaming, as I said, so be aware of that. And if you will put your phones into worship mode, we will begin by lighting our chalice, and I promised Lex that he could light the chalice. Maybe give him a little hand with the match, the fire safety part. Thank you. You got that? Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Reverend Scott Taylor. This light, it dances, barely able to contain its delight, and it seems to want us to do the same. So this morning, may we let it lure us into letting go of the worries, of the stiffness that sets in after all the striving, of the myth that productivity alone gives us purpose. This garden of life we've been given is a playground. The weeding can wait, so says this delightful flame. And our opening words today are by Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. It's called A Protest and a Party. People sometimes ask, is Pride a protest or a party? And the answer is, of course, yes. And why not? Why not rejoice as we resist, dance as we demand change, celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are? So bring all of that with you this morning. Bring your policy demands, bring your glitter, bring your Supreme Court broken heart, bring your rainbow socks, bring your emptiness that you feel for our siblings gone too soon. Bring your Gloria Estefan mix. Bring your tender hope for change. Bring your most garish eyeshadow. Bring your spirit tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate. Gather up all these things and bring them here, to a place where we don't have to shoulder these burdens or celebrate these joys alone. So come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn, I am going to play for you. I believe it's 118. Hold on. 118 or 188? 188. Come, Come, Whoever You Are is the name of the song. I'm just going to jam it out for you here on my ukulele. Please stand if you are willing and able. Yes, 188. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lovers of leaving, ours is no caravan, love Oh, please take the time to greet one another now, please. You go right ahead. That's what it is. And while you're all standing, since you are standing, let us read our covenant together, which is printed in your order of service. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. And now we have a story for all ages that Mari is going to read to us.
Good morning, everyone. This is just a fun book that I love very much. So it's called Not a Box, and it's written by Antoinette Port. To children everywhere sitting in cardboard boxes. Why are you sitting in a box? It's not a box. Why are you standing on top of that box? It's not a box. Why are you squirting a box? I said it's not a box. Now you're wearing a box? This is not a box. Are you still standing around in that box? It's not a box. Well, what is it then? It's my not a box. The end.
Now is the time in our service where we share with each other our joys and concerns. If you have something you would like to share, come on up. I will hand you the microphone, and we'll begin.
Hi. After getting discriminated by several times due to my disability in minimum wage jobs that I thought were going to be good to work for, I thought good companies, I was on the way to the library to apply for a position at a junkyard, and then I saw an IT company. So I'm a cybersecurity professional. I'm disabled right now. But I went inside and just knocked on the door. It was locked, and I started walking away, and I heard it click. Oh. I go in there, and there's dogs jumping around barking. There's some IT people and the owner of the company, I think. And I asked them if they wanted part-time IT work, maybe going to full-time. Told them I was a cybersecurity professional, and they said, we're interested in bringing our cybersecurity work in-house. We have a vendor that does it right now, but hey, if that might work. And so I did not mention my disability, didn't have to disclose, it was all technical, and they seem to be a very flexible and accommodating company. Talking about like remote, hybrid, on-site type stuff. And this is how I got my first job, was when I walked into a pharmacy, a private pharmacy, and told them I was going to pharmacy school. And this pharmacy gave me a position. So there's a high likelihood this is going to work. And if that's the case, that this job will pull me out of poverty, allow me to financially support myself and have a high quality of life again.
May it be so.
My name is Deb, and I just wanted to let you know that last summer, when it was so dry, I would come over here and water the roses, but the garden had a very hard time. And this morning, the new garden committee met, and it looks as though we're going to have a garden work day next Sunday after church. So wear your dungarees.
Good morning. My name's Mary, and I'm lighting a candle for my brother Joe. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of his passing, and we really miss him.
Sure do. Sure do. We had a little jam session at the gallery last week, and there was a real hole in the room with Joe not being there. Everyone mentioned it.
Good morning, I'm Helena, and my joy is to see John and Lori Bullard here in the flesh on Lori's birthday. And I was going to say something about John's book, Hometown, but maybe he's going to say it himself. No? Anyway, he's just published his memoirs called Hometown, and I have a feeling the Unitarian Church probably shows up in that. I didn't look in the index yet, and I haven't started. But anyway, I'm just really happy to have them here and to have this great occasion.
Yes, indeed. Come on, John.
Thanks. I too am glad to be here and share a joy of Lori's birthday, although I don't think she feels joy about it, but it's still her birthday regardless. I feel, and so does Lori, tremendous sorrow that Ned Lund is not with us. I don't know if this is news to you, but he died on Thursday. And he cared for our kids. He cared for this church. He cared for our community. It is a profound loss. And I know our hearts are with Judy. He was actually getting ready to come to the book opening. You all know what he meant to all of us, and what a steady presence he was here every Sunday and on all meetings. What a constant he was in our lives, and to not see him today, or to realize we're not going to see him in that pew. It is a tremendous loss, and so I know that he will live on in our hearts, and I'm sorry to bring this news.
Thank you, John. I'm glad you did. Yeah, that's almost too much to bear at the moment. I'm going to light 2 final candles, as is our practice here, one for all the joys and sorrows we keep in our hearts, and one for all those out there who have yet to find a safe and loving community like this to share with. pull it together and keep going here. Our first reading is from Mary Oliver, called Invitation. Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your busy and very important day? For the goldfinches have gathered in the field of thistles for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest note, or the lowest, or the most expressive of mirth, or the most tender. Their strong, blunt beaks drink the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for sheer delight and gratitude. Believe us, they say. It is a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." Join with me now in the spirit of prayer and meditation. This is from John O'Donohue. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the curragh of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of pale yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. We'll have a moment of silence. Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. Sing along if you know it. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered if wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do you think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailor? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da 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 dum. La da 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 dum. Da da dum. Really wanted to learn that on the ukulele, and it's got like 15 chords, and there was no. You know it? Darn it. See, this is why we need to talk more often, right? I was supposed to sing What a Wonderful World, and I don't think I was going to be able to get through that. Our second reading is from Mary Oliver, called Mindful. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made of grass. Tony Ann, would you lead us in a rousing version of This Little Light of Mine? We'll do some clapping to set this to music. Can you play piano? I'm learning new things about my congregation all the time. What number is it? Is it 118? 118. 118. I guess she can play piano.
2, 3, 4.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Woo! And I brought my stupid ukulele? Sheesh, Tony Ann. That was awesome. You constantly surprise me. Now that really did make me smile. Can I get two people to take the offertory for me? Thank you, Eileen and Deb. Now is the time in our service where we ask you for your kind donations toward the good works of this church. And we thank you very much for your kindness. Give us lots of money. Well coordinated, ladies, well coordinated. Oh, delightful. So this month's Soul Matters theme is delight. That's why I read so much Mary Oliver today. She's one of those poets that absolutely delights me. And it delights us here at UU New Bedford to celebrate Pride Month with our LGBTQIA+ community and all the beautiful identities we encompass. Let me start with a little bit of background about how Pride Month got started. There are points in history when homosexuality was not seen as anything unnatural. Far from it. We could have a nice scholastic discussion about ancient Greece, for example. But there are also many, many other cultures throughout history who have seen queer folk as special, even sacred, like the two-spirited concept of the Native Americans. According to the History Channel website, they give a nice little synopsis. The roots of the gay rights movement go back to the early 1900s, when a handful of individuals in North America and Europe created gay and lesbian organizations, such as the Society for Human Rights, founded by Henry Gerber in Chicago in the 1920s. Following World War II, a small number of groups, like the Mattachine Society and the Daughters of Bilitis, published gay and lesbian positive newsletters and grew more and more vocal in demanding recognition for and protesting discrimination against gay and lesbians. In 1966, for example, members of the Mattachine Society held a sip-in protest. That's S-I-P, not sit, sip. A sip-in protest at Julius, which was a bar in New York City where they demanded drinks after announcing that they were gay, in violation of local laws against serving alcohol to gay and lesbian folk, if you can believe that. That was 1966, my friends. Despite some progress in the post-war era, basic civil rights were largely denied to gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people. Till one night in June 1969, when the gay rights movement took a furious step forward with a series of violent riots in New York City. As was common practice in many cities, the New York Police Department would occasionally raid bars and restaurants where queer folk were known to hang out. This occurred on June 28th, 1969. That was when the New York Police Department raided the Stonewall Inn, a bar in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of Manhattan. When the police aggressively dragged patrons and employees out of the bar, a lot of people started to fight back against the police, and a growing crowd of angry locals, gay and straight, gathered in the streets. The confrontations quickly escalated and sparked 6 days of protests and violent clashes with the NYPD outside the Stonewall Inn on Christopher Street and throughout the neighborhood. By the time the Stonewall riots ended on July 2nd, 1969, the gay rights movement went from being a fringe issue largely ignored by politicians and the media to front-page news worldwide. 1 year later, during the anniversary of the Stonewall riots, activists in New York City marched through the streets of Manhattan in commemoration of the uprising. The march, which took place on June 28, 1970, is now considered the country's first gay pride parade. And it's not actually right, it was actually a day before in Chicago, but this is the big one that we think about. By all accounts, the New York City event was a stunning success with between 3,000 and 5,000 people in the march. It stretched 51 blocks from Greenwich Village to Central Park, and parades took place everywhere in the country, in Chicago and Los Angeles and San Francisco. Black trans women like Martha Pay It No Mind Johnson and Miss Major Griffin Gracie, and trans Latina women like Sylvia Rivera were crucial players in this movement as leaders and activists. I could give you a whole sermon about them today, but I did, like 2 years ago. And we've got a lot of other things to talk about today. But I encourage you during this month, during Pride Month, to look up some of the history, look up their names, read about them. All of these, the trans women especially, that fought so hard for freedom and for recognition. So take that project on yourself. At the turn of the millennium, in 2000, President Bill Clinton officially designated June as Gay and Lesbian Pride Month in recognition of the Stonewall riots and gay activism throughout the years that followed. But a more inclusive name was chosen by President Barack Obama in 2009, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month. Here's something I take great delight in. Massachusetts, our beautiful Commonwealth, was the first state in America to legalize same-sex marriage on May 17th, 2004. And that's something we should all be very proud of. I know I am. It was made legal in all 50 states by the Supreme Court of the United States in 2009. Remember how I know I remember that day. Were you as absolutely thrilled as I was, jumping up and down, going, I can't believe this actually happened? And from there, well, LGBTQ folk started to feel a little more safe. We grew a network of support and started to know who we could trust. Being gay or lesbian or bi was not a big deal anymore, certainly not in liberal enclaves like Massachusetts. And most people realized that no matter where they lived, that they knew somebody who was gay. And the world didn't fall apart. In fact, it seemed to improve their neighborhoods and school districts. And our trans friends even started to feel safe enough to be out as the gender they identified as. And people supported them and loved them and told them that. For a minute, it almost seemed like we were going to be okay. Like we had made real progress. Like the world had finally caught up with its true self, and we could see and appreciate the delightfully wide-ranging spectrum of people's personal experiences and expressions in their gender identity and sexuality. But this is America. And what our history teaches us, which is why some people are desperately seeking to control what history actually gets taught, is that when marginalized people of any kind make real strides towards being recognized as equally human and deserving of respect, well, let's tell it like it is. The white religious right, the people of power with money to throw at elections, who more than anything do not want their power to be usurped by anyone, and who want to make this a union perfect in their own eyes, according to their perceptions of morality, eschewing equity and diversity, will try to take every step toward freedom that we have fought for with our blood and our tears away. It feels surreal. It feels surreal how quickly this country reversed its progress. Just recently, right? There have been almost 500 pieces of legislation in different states in our nation over the last year that have tried to re-marginalize my LGBTQIA+ family, taking away the rights of parents and doctors to make healthcare decisions for their children, even to the point of taking away custody from parents and suing doctors who are only trying to give their children what they literally need to survive. These are the same people, by the way, that lost their minds for being asked to wear a mask or get vaccinated to protect their fellow human beings from a deadly pandemic, whining that the government shouldn't be able to tell them how they should be able to care for their families. Right? The hypocrisy is shameful. And they find no irony in that, only righteous talking points, right? Forgive them, Father, for they know what they do, and it will backfire spectacularly. There's lots to be concerned about when it comes to the right for everyone to live as they'd like and love who they love right now. But I don't think that the progress that we've made as a country can be so easily undone. It's hard to put the genie back in the bottle, right, once that fabulous queen has been released. And Bethany and I were speaking before about the numbers, right? Hold on, it almost seems like there's way more marginalized people now than there are regular people. The great poet Jim Morrison said, they've got the guns, but we've got the numbers. Problem is, they're not afraid to shoot us with the guns, so. Now, I don't want it to get too dark here, because I wanted to bring light to what our community is facing right now, but this sermon is supposed to be about delight, right? It's supposed to be about pride. I am a proud, cisgender, bisexual woman, and I delight in the fact that I am positive that that does not shock anyone in this sanctuary, or that I might get some kind of negative response from anyone here for making that statement. I don't think I've actually said those words out loud right here. I delight in the fact that this is a safe and supportive space for everyone who comes through these doors. This is what our church is. A place where everyone will always be surrounded by people who will love them unconditionally, who will celebrate their humanity and be welcomed into this beloved community. I think that's awesome. That's how we fight the hate, my friends. So today, this month, and always, we will delight in the pride we all have here for being the other. We march, we take action, We vote. We support our friends and neighbors who need us most. We make our voices heard. And we have to believe in our minds and our hearts and our souls, church, that love will conquer hate. That freedom and justice for all is something we will not be denied. And that the pursuit of happiness is something that everyone should share. No one should be denied that. We won't have it any other way here. And you'll excuse me if I delight in the fight. Because, church, I am going to fight. I don't know about you, but I am going to fight for the rights of my proud LGBTQIA brothers and sisters and friends all over this country and all over this world. And I think we're going to win. Because once people embrace their own spirit, that spirit that cannot be broken no matter who tries, once people embrace that, you can't let it go anymore once you've discovered who you are. There's no going back. We have already given birth to a new generation of those who delight in the fight, and they're going to be taken seriously. They're going to be recognized as the voices who will be heard, who will be accepted as humans in the fight for equality and freedom. They will live their lives and love who they love because they've got the numbers. They're growing up. We're growing out. I delight in our future and what we can accomplish if we keep pushing and making people understand that we just want to live. We just want to be free like everyone else, and we just want to be loved. We all just want to be loved, right? And we all deserve that. We all deserve it. I have high hopes for our future, church, and I count on you all to delight in the fight beside me. And now, let's see, our closing hymn. Maybe, Tony Ann, if I play it on the ukulele, would you sing De Colores for us? It's number 305. Everyone else can sing as well. Stand if you are willing and able.
Okay. All the colors we see in the springtime with all of its flowers, all the colors, the rift in the cloud and its showers. All the colors as the rainbow appears when a storm cloud is touched by the sun. All the colors abound in the world around and for everyone under the sun. The sun. The colors moving by with the banners, all the colors, yes, the colors of pennants and streamers and plumes and bandas, all the colors, yes, the colors of people now taking their place in the sun. All the colors abound for the world and around and for everyone under the sun. All the colors. All the colors, yes, the black and the white and the red and the brown and the yellow. All the colors, all the colors of people who smile and shake hands and say hello. All the colors, yes, the colors of people who know that their freedom is won. Colors abound for the world and around and for everyone under the sun.
In Spanish too?
One day we will do it in Spanish, I promise. Today is not that day. All right, thank you. Our closing words, my friend. Boy, I miss Randy already. Our closing words is the Spell for Reclaiming the Moment by Adrienne Marie Brown. Even now, we could be happy, even now. Breathing in, filling our bodies with right now from the dirt below us, from our toes to our knees, hips, up our spines, shoulders to earlobes, the tip top of our heads to beyond to the stars. Breathing wide across our wingspan into that sacred and constant silk web where we belong. Breathing deep, inhale back to great-grandmother's bosom. Exhale 7 generations of blessings that will come through our next choices. Even now, we can be present. Even now, life is right here still. An erotic pulse kissing your jawline, a restlessness of mind. Too much, too little. There's still someone you are longing to see, someone who startles you with a simple pleasure just because they exist. Even now we can anticipate harvest, be shocked by the thunderclap, the storm, laugh at the abundance of our grief and our earnest attempt to avoid the inevitable. We are a delight. We could be another's blessing. With our brief and epic lives where every day we are given the option of love. Let us take that option and take it home with us, my friends. Hold fast. We love you. Stay strong. Live long and prosper. Go in peace. Join us for coffee hour after the service. Thank you.